Everyone. Welcome to our virtual info session for admissions. When you come in, make sure to have your mic muted and your camera off. We're going to get started here in about 5 to 6 minutes. Hey everyone, welcome to our freshman admissions information session. We're going to get started here in about 2 or 3 minutes. So if you could please come in with your mic muted and camera off, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This is Justin Salge. I'm your chat moderator today. Thank you for joining us for our freshman virtual admissions information session. Joining me today is our admissions team at UTSA and our presenter, Ms. Alasia Moore. Ms. Alasia Moore is going to take you through all the requirements of becoming a Roadrunner. As we start our presentation today, we'd like you to please keep your mic muted and camera off. If you do have any questions today about admissions or anything you might see in our presentation, there is a chat section on the right-hand side of your screen. Just click the little chat comment looking bubble and then type your questions, and our admissions team will take care of anything you have to ask. Ms. Alasia, I'm giving it off to you.
Thanks, Justin. Good morning, everybody. Like Justin said, my name is Alasia Moore. I'm the admissions counselor for the Northeast San Antonio and Central Texas regions. So you guys may know or have had communication with me, but today's presentation is going to be about a 25 minute presentation of all information for UTSA, and then also about a 20-minute Q&A session at the end. So if you guys have any questions that aren't answered in the Q&A, or excuse me, the chat portion, we'll be able to pull those out and get those answered for you. And I'm also going to be sure to include as much information related to any recent updates, especially for those students who are still applying for the summer 2020, fall 2020, and spring 2021 academic terms. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, UTSA, the University of Texas at San Antonio, which is located in San Antonio, Texas. So if you guys are from San Antonio or you're from out of town, if you didn't know, San Antonio is actually the 7th largest city in the nation. So we've got a lot of things going on here. We're a cultural center. We have the Alamo as part of our history. So this is something that we really hold dear to. And when you're here in the area, you're able to see exactly how we as a university has integrated into the community and the culture here. So this is definitely something that, when you're in the area, you want to kind of get a feel for everything and see exactly how the community affects us. Now, if you didn't know, UTSA actually has multiple locations that incorporates our university here in the area. So the first two are going to be the most important. That will be main campus and downtown campus. And I say this because these are the actual academic areas. So main campus, that is located near the Six Flags of San Antonio. And this is essentially where the majority of our courses, academic colleges, and resources are held. So for instance, right now, if you are part of the College of Liberal Arts, or if you were part of the College of Sciences or Engineering, all of your courses would be held at main campus. Now, downtown campus, this is going to essentially hold additional undergraduate programs. So if you happen to be in the construction science, architecture, and sometime in the near future, we do plan on moving the business program to this campus, that's where the majority of your courses will be held. And you'll see there that we have 2 additional campuses. These are going to be the non-academic areas. So Park West is near main campus, and this is essentially like a physical outside facility, so recreational facilities you're able to use. So if you're part of club sports, you may have practices here or what have you. And then Hemisphere Park campus, this is essentially our cultural center. So this is also known as the Institute of Texan Cultures if you're from the area, and that's going to be downtown. And this is basically a great way for you to learn more about San Antonian culture, Texan culture, and then also there will be different exhibits from cultures just, spanning the country and the world presented here. So you're able to learn more about the people here in San Antonio. Now, 2 important questions that you're going to have as you're looking for your university will be, where will I live and what will I eat? So for housing here at UTSA, currently, freshmen are not required to live on campus. So while it's not mandatory, it's definitely highly suggested just because of the experience you get. And studies have shown that you tend to have higher GPAs, make better grades because you're near all of those resources and you're able to utilize them in your convenience. Now, these will be the different communities that you would have access to. So coming in as a freshman, you can apply for traditional style housing, suite style housing, or apartment style housing. And these will all be options offered for the main campus area. So you see there, everything in orange, those are going to be our residential villages. And then everything in blue will be all of our academic buildings and resources on main campus. So it kind of shows you the proximity. So from one end to the other on campus, you can walk in about 15 minutes or so, but I also will give you information on other transportation options you would have as a student. Now, Now, these are some of the things you kind of get coming in living on campus. So you'll have furniture, so no need to break down your bed and bring it with you, or a new dresser. We're going to have all that for you. There's going to be special ways that you're able to pay for your housing. You're going to have laundry available to you, so this will be a great way to get those skills going. And then also maintenance. And we always like to say you're going to have great neighbors, and that's because your neighbors are your peers. So your neighbors could be the person you sit to in one of your lectures. This can be someone that you're part of a club with, what have you. So they're all going to be UTSA students when you're living on campus. So that's going to be a great way just to get involved. And once again, just to kind of build your connections and build your community while you're here with us. Now on to that second question, what will I eat? So whether you have specific dietary needs or you just have a specific taste, we're going to have something that will meet that for you. So you see here, these are just going to be some of the options we have available. We have Panda Express, Chick-fil-A, whatever you're looking for, we're going to have that here on campus. And you see here, we also have other options. So there's cool little things around campus. So we have our own Rowdy food truck. So this is really great. So this will be on main campus and it'll travel to different spots on campus. Most popularly, it'll be outside of the John Peace Library near the Sumbria. So if you guys haven't seen that, or if you want to check out one of our virtual visits, you'll be able to see exactly what that is. But this is just a great place for students to kind of pass their time in between classes, hang out, study, meet with friends, what have you. But you see here, there's a food truck, and those two guys in the front must have been really happy about what was on the menu for that day. So I definitely encourage you guys to check that out. And food is offered on main campus and downtown campus. So you'll have different options despite which campus you belong to. Now, coming new to UTSA, a really big thing that you always want to make sure that you're aware of is, what kind of new things are coming to this university? Because if you're going to invest the next 4 years of your life there, you want to make sure that there's growth and that there are accommodations being met for students and opportunities being brought to you guys. So one of the newest things we're going to have is an academic building. So this is going to be a science and engineering building, and it will actually be home to our brain health initiatives. So UTSA, we are building our research capability, and every year we're getting new faculty and staff on board who are able to help us strengthen our programs. So with this will be a great way if you are a student who is in one of those areas. You'll have unlimited lab space and just all kinds of areas within the facility that will really help your program and your experience. But then also we're going to have a special fishbowl lab. So it's like a glass lab. And essentially it's a fishbowl because you'll actually be able to spectate whatever is being conducted inside. So this is a great way, once again, maybe you're a science or engineering student and you want to know exactly, what are my peers working on? What is my, department working on? You can kind of spectate that. But then also, if you're someone, just part of UTSA's campus and you want to know exactly what we are doing and how we're helping the world and the global community, it's a really great way to kind of just stop in. So we're really looking forward to that opening here fall 2020. Another thing is we're going to have a new residence hall. So you guys may have seen on the previous slide with all the bubbles, Guadalupe Hall. So Guadalupe Hall is set to open fall 2021. And this is essentially going to house close to 400 students. It's going to be a premier option for our honors college students. So if you were to receive an invitation to join that academic program and you decide to live on campus, you would have the option to live in Guadalupe Hall. And another little birdie has told us that there's a possibility that we will have a new Starbucks built inside the actual residential hall. So in case you have an 8 a.m. morning class, you're running a little late, you can pop in downstairs to get that before you go over to your building. But this is something we're looking forward to, and this just shows you that, with the building of new residential halls, that means that more students are choosing to live on campus. So we want to make sure that we're providing as many resources for those students as possible. Then, of course, our student athletes, we haven't forgotten about you guys. So for our student athletes, we're basically building a new facility that will help meet the needs of that dual role that you're serving here at UTSA. So this will be the Roadrunner Athletic Center of Excellence. It's slated to open sometime in 2021. And basically, this is where coach and staff offices will be held. You'll have access to special study rooms as well as different facilities. So whether it's, conditioning facilities, or if you're part of kinesiology or exercise science programs, there will be different labs that you'll be able to utilize here and different also practice fields. So this is going to be really great. So you're able to, like I said, serve both titles within that dual role as a student athlete to make sure that you're succeeding here at UTSA. All right, now here's that transportation I mentioned earlier. So here at UTSA, like I said, we have a really strong connection with the San Antonio community. So there's a great synergy going on. And what you'll find is that we actually have a connection with the San Antonio Via City bus line. So this is through the Via UPass system. So basically, when you download this app or on your actual student ID card, there'll be a little sticker that'll indicate that you're part of this program. This is your way to utilize the Via bus system for unlimited free rides wherever you need to go. So whether you're going between main campus, downtown campus, or maybe you want to go over to the shops at La Cantera across from main campus or what have you, you'll be able to use this pass anywhere in San Antonio for free with unlimited rides. So of course you can bring your car to campus, but if you happen not to, don't worry, there will be a way for you to get around if you haven't made friends to carpool with already. Now, of course, there's going to be certain things that we want to make sure that you as a student, you're taking part in. So these are going to be experiences and resources. And just remember, these are just a handful. So there's plenty more outside of these. But one of the first here is, if you didn't know, we have a first year experience. So at UTSA, about 50% of our students happen to be first generation. So this means if you're first gen, this means that you're the first person in your family to go on and earn a 4-year undergraduate bachelor's degree. So with that comes a lot of responsibilities. A lot of that's going to be new. So it's going to be, different territory for you guys. So we want to make sure that we provide all the resources you need to ensure that that's as smooth as a transition as possible. So through the first year experience, also known as FYE, this is where you're going to have a peer mentor, so an upperclassman who also came in first gen and they've been able to succeed. So they're going to be helping you throughout that. But then also you're going to have faculty and staff that will assist you. There will be special courses you'll take together. So it's just a great way, once again, to build that community and make sure that, you're not feeling left out there. So just know that you are definitely not the only person possibly going on the same journey. So you guys can kind of travel those paths together. Another resource we have is definitely unique, one of the first in the area, Dreamers Resource Center. So this is essentially our way to help mixed status families. So whether you come from a mixed status family, you need assistance in navigating anything related to university or outside of that, we're able to help you here. But then also maybe you're a faculty or staff or a student at UTSA, you just want to be well versed on how to address issues, how to help and how to assist. You like to receive some training to kind of get all of that going. The Dreamers Resource Center is a place where you want to go and do that. And we definitely encourage students to go in and get as much information as possible, despite the way that you're using the system. It's just a great way to make sure that we are creating a community here where we're all understanding of exactly all of our needs. All right, and then we have education abroad. So of course we want you guys here at UTSA learning, getting acclimated, but we want to kind of get you guys out the nest too and get used to that self, individualism and kind of going out and finding yourself. So we do encourage you guys to study abroad. So essentially to study abroad, we just ask that you are at least of sophomore level credits. So essentially after your first year here, once you get acclimated, you get used to the general run of things in university, then you can actually start to study abroad. So this is a great experience. You can go for as long as 2 weeks in the summer, with a faculty-led trip with faculty here from UTSA and your fellow classmates. You can go for, let's say, the spring in Germany or spend an entire foreign exchange academic year in South Africa. So honestly, wherever you're thinking, you'll probably be able to find some sister university that we have a program with. So you definitely want to make sure that you are taking advantage of this whenever you can when you're here in university. All right, and now we have a couple of traditions coming up. So in the fall, this is the start of each academic year, right? So essentially what we have in the fall is a week of welcome. And this will kick off with our midnight light. And this is held the night before the start of classes. So essentially this is on main campus. Our president, Amy, will shut down the main entrance, so no through traffic. And this is just a great time where we'll have the band out, the cheer, the pom squad will be out. Students, whether you're a new student to UTSA or a returning student, everyone's just hanging out, dancing, and enjoying the fun. And as you can see with the midnight light, we're going to do a countdown to celebrate the new year. So basically we'll count down together and there'll be fireworks. And then, if you have an 8 a.m. class, you can walk back over to your residential hall and get ready for the day, or you can hang around and just finish up getting all those connections made with those new people you have met on your first night at UTSA. Oops, excuse me. We'll skip there, guys. I don't want you guys to miss that one. All right, let's go back here a couple slides. There we go. All right. It was running from me, y'all. But this is our Spirit Walk. So Spirit Walk is essentially a tradition we have. So a few years ago, if you didn't know, we actually began, we got our first football team. So with this came, a lot of excitement. So the Spirit Walk is a really important thing to us. All of our home football games are held at the Alamo Dome here in San Antonio. So what we do is we'll line the walkway where the players enter the dome with our band, with students, and we kind of just cheer them on and get them revved up for their game. So we want to make sure that we're showing our support out here for the home team. So this is definitely something I recommend you guys experience, especially when it comes to the very first game of the football season, which is also tends to end out our week of welcome. That's always such a great experience, especially as an incoming freshman, because you actually get to sign up to run across the field before the players come out. So it's a really cool thing to do. Now, you've seen all the information, you've seen some social aspects, a few of our resources, and you may be thinking, orange and blue might look good on you. So this is where we're going to start to get to all the academic information you want to know of as you're getting ready to apply to UTSA. Now, first off, we do have about 160-degree programs spread across 7 academic colleges. But do know that about 60 of these are what we offer at the undergraduate level. So that will be that 4-year bachelor's that you as a first-time student or a 4-year student will be earning as you come in. And here you're going to see the different areas that you can go into. So they're all alphabetical. So if you go to the future.utsa.edu/studies website, you're able to actually see more information. So, hey, if you want to major in education, you want to know, can I do, K through 8? Can I do this? Can I do that? You're able to go onto that website and find out more information on special concentrations or areas that your major may branch off into, especially if you want to hone in into certain topics. And then here you're going to see a few of those majors kind of pulled out and highlighted. You'll see that they tend to be in business, engineering, kind of in those areas. But these are essentially our areas of study that have additional admissions requirements. So these will be specific programs where they want to see that you're admissible by general education, general application requirements, which are requirements that all applicants have to meet despite their major, but also they're going to set specific requirements to their own program as well. So this will just be able to give you direct information. All right, guys, let's see here. All right, there we go. So you see here that those basically will give you more information on exactly what that means later. All right, so also for anyone who's interested in going to the health-related field, while UTSA doesn't have we don't have our own UTSA School of Medicine or UTSA Nursing School, but we still provide you guys with paths into those areas. So you see here, these are going to be the different areas that you can focus on as getting yourself started before you leave UTSA and go on to your actual medical institution. So everything here, with the exception of nursing, you'll come in, you'll choose a major, you'll set yourself as this pre-track. You'll have a specific health profession advisor through our health profession office, and they'll essentially assist you throughout your time here and making sure that you're taking any foundational courses that will set you on the track for especially Texas medical institutions, as well as applying to the institutions you're looking to go into. Now, I said with the exception of nursing because at the moment we essentially have a 2+2 program for nursing. So this means you will come into UTSA and you'll start your first 2 years, finish out all your prerequisites. And then after your first 2 years, you'll end up going to an actual nursing program outside. So an institution that will hold that full program for you. So a lot of our students throughout all these areas, they tend to go to the UT Health Science Center here in San Antonio. It's close to home, close to where you're learning. And a lot of people are able to find the programs they'd like. But of course, like I said, we prepare you to go to any institution. So that health profession advisor will be assisting you throughout all of that. And then, of course, if we have someone out there who's interested in becoming a teacher, we actually are able to provide you guys with certification. So we're state board approved. So basically, this is especially helpful for those who maybe you didn't come in as an education or interdisciplinary studies major, but now, maybe you came in as biology or math, and now you're thinking that you would like to have this option in your future. Then this will be a great certificate program for you. So you'll be able to be certified for elementary, middle school, and high school teaching. All right, now we're going to get into the actual admission information. And like I said, for those of you who may have applied for the summer 2020, fall 2020, and spring 2021, there have been some adjustments made for you. But for everyone else outside of that, you'll be able to follow the information you're able to see here on your screen. So we still have that set for anyone outside of who's slated to join us after spring 2021. So basically you can kind of still adhere to this information there. So essentially, when we're looking at applications, what we look for academically will be kind of measured by your class rank and your test scores coming in. Now, like I said, for anyone for summer 2020, fall 2020, and spring 2021, if you don't know already, we have suspended our test score requirement for you guys because of all of the situations surrounding COVID and the cancellation of tests through College Board and what have you. So we're definitely understanding of that. So for you guys who may fall into that boat, essentially without those test scores, this means that you want to submit as much supplemental information as possible. So that means an essay, the resume, or at least 2 letters of recommendation will be very important in helping us read your application. For everyone else who that does not apply to, essentially you will be able to fall into guaranteed admission or admission by committee review. And then guaranteed is essentially just as it sounds. So if you meet these admissions requirements, you will be given an admit decision. So you see here for guaranteed, we'll look at the top 25 and the second 25. I always like to point out that while top 25 says no minimum test scores needed, this doesn't mean to not take the test or to not submit your test scores. This just means that you could have received a 9 on the ACT or a 32 on the ACT, and we would give you an admit decision because you're top 25. And then also you see their second 25, this is where you're actually going to start to see specific benchmarks being set. So if you're second 25, we are looking for at least an 1170 SAT or a 24 ACT. Now it's either or when it comes to the test, there's no preference for us. It's just whatever you tested better on. We don't super score. So we will actually just take the highest composite score of any test score that's on file. So maybe you've tested on both, or you've taken the SAT maybe 2 or 3 times, whatever is the highest score that meets that minimum requirement to place you into that admission process, then that's what we're going to look at. And then if you see here, when you go into the admission by committee review, this is basically where you can start to get into the other quarters there. So we'll look from second through fourth quarter, once again, with specific test score requirements. And like I said, you want to make sure that if you want to meet that requirement, that you're submitting something that has that minimum test score. So don't be afraid to retest if you need to. Just make sure that whatever you're submitting meets that so that we can get you into that process. And especially for admission by committee review, this is where those supplemental documentations that I kind of mentioned at the top of this portion of the presentation, supplemental documentation is highly suggested during this period for students as well, just because, like I said, we're able to take a more holistic view of you as a student and learn more about you and the things that you've achieved. Now, like I said earlier, there will be certain majors that will have specific major requirements, and those will be based off of different class rank or test score requirements. So, you know, if you're second 25 and you fall into committee review and you only need a 980 for SAT, you may find that if you want to join management under the business program, maybe they need a separate, you know, another specific test score or something of that nature. So you just want to make sure that you're aware of that so that you are aware of everything involving the admissions process when you're coming into us. But you can always check that out, like I said, at future.utsa.edu/studies. And then we have honors college admission. So you may have heard me mention that earlier. This is an invitation only academic program. So this is basically where if you meet these requirements, then the honors college will actually extend an invitation to you in order to invite you in. So you can choose to accept or deny it. But if you do accept it, just know that you are basically opening yourself up to a lot of great opportunities. This is where you're going to have smaller class sizes. So if you prefer learning in that kind of environment, you're going to get that under honors college. So they'll be smaller than our typical general courses across campus. You're going to have priority registration for each academic semester. So you're able to get all of your classes and design your schedule for the next coming semester. And then also you're going to have access to premier professors in your programs and your department. So these are going to be people who will assist you. There will be specific curriculum requirements and student experiences that the honors college wants students to kind of go through, and they'll be there assisting you through all of that. So you're going to have a great support system. So definitely, if you know that you are falling into these parameters here, just keep an eye out for that invitation. So to sum up the application process, basically, these are the 4 steps you want to make sure that you meet. So you see here that first will be to apply online at applytexas.org. So that is where our application is currently housed. And then also the next step would be to make sure that you pay the $70 application fee, or if applicable, you'll be doing a fee waiver. So you'll be able to see a couple slides later exactly what will be required to be considered for that fee waiver. And then outside of that, of course, we're going to need your documentation. So we're going to need your official high school transcripts. For those of you who may, like I said, still be applying for the next 3 terms and you've been affected by the recent changes and the stay-at-home orders, essentially for transcripts, let's say if your counselor is unable to send your transcript through the regular transcript delivery system, so that might be T-Rex, Parchment, Naviance, whatever your school uses, then your counselor is actually able to email your admissions counselor directly your 6th or your 7th semester transcript, and we can accept those as official. But we can only accept those as official if it's coming straight from the counselor, so it can't be a student submission or a parent submission. And also you want to make sure that you're communicating with your counselor to make sure that if your social security number information is included on that transcript, that it is removed or blacked out before they send it over to us. But other than that, we're able to kind of make that accommodation for you guys if you're unable to get to your, like I said, their typical delivery systems at this time. And then, of course, test scores from testing agencies. So when the test score requirement is running on its regular schedule, and that's something that's a regular requirement, the test scores have to come directly from College Board or from ACT. So they can't be what's included sometimes, on your transcript or what may have been sent to you digitally. We have to have this submitted from the actual testing agency. So you just want to make sure of that. And then, of course, if you happen to be a student who is a part of the dual credit system, if you've earned any dual credits, it's always great to go ahead and submit those college transcripts as soon as you can. So I always say, as you're sitting in your high school information, try and send that over too, because it helps us in the process when we're reviewing your application. And then also, should you get admitted and when you go to meet with your academic advisor, if you already have that on file, then that helps them in determining, what courses have you already earned credit for and what courses can you be exempted for, as they help you sign up for your first year classes. So that's always great just to have on. And then once again, you'll see more of that supplemental information. So if you fall into committee review, or like I said, if you're part of the next 3 terms, these will be things that you want to make sure you're submitting to us. So at least the SAA from Apply Texas, 2 letters of recommendation, and a resume if there happen to be any additional experiences or awards that weren't listed on your Apply Texas application. And for anyone who may be graduating from high school early outside of your cohort, you are able to submit if you are able to get a recommendation letter from your guidance counselor, then we're able to be made aware that you'll be graduating early from high school. All right, and now I'm going to turn over to our international admissions so that they can provide some information to our students who may fall into this category. So Jessica?
Hi, I'm Marisela Garcia. I'm the International Admissions Advisor. Let me go over some information regarding international admission. On how to apply, you would need to go to applytexas.org, as Aleja has stated before. You would apply as an international freshman application. This means that you would apply if you are on any kind of visa in the alphabet. So anything E1, E2, TD visa, if you're dependent of an H4 visa, any visa that you're on, or if you're in the process of getting your permanent residency, you would apply as an international freshman applicant. You would pay the $70 application fee. We would need your official high school transcripts or mark sheets, plus a translation if it's in another language. We would also, we don't require the SAT or ACT for international applicants, but we do require an English language proficiency if the country you're coming from is not an English-speaking country. Please note at the time we are accepting TOEFL, IELTS, PTE Academic, Cambridge Advanced, and the ITEP. We do have waivers for this requirement, such as if you take the SAT and receive a 500 or higher on the critical base evidence reading part. And right now, as of right now, the 2 tests that are being offered at home for English language proficiency are the ITEP and the TOEFL. So I would recommend that if you need to take an English proficiency exam, please go to their websites to look up their at-home options. If you need to submit your SAT scores or TOEFL scores, please submit them to our institution code 6919 and for ACT 4239. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at international.admissions@utsa.edu. Thank you, Aleja.
Thank you, Marcella. All right. So let's get going. All right. So like I mentioned, there are ways to be considered for a fee waiver. So if this is applicable to you, basically the first two things you want to do to get that ball rolling is making sure that on the apply text that you are indicating you want to request a fee waiver. And then also if you received a fee waiver for the SAT or ACT through College Board, make sure you're providing that to us as well. So this will just, like I said, get the ball rolling. So should the next slide apply to you where you'll need additional information, then we're able to get this from you guys. So it's always really great to go ahead and submit your FAFSA to us, because through that we are able to view your student aid report, which will tell us about your Pell eligibility. And then if there's any additional documentation that we need from you guys, depending on what category applies to you, then you see there that that'll kind of give you a kind of like a breakdown, but we will notify you if we need that documentation. So it's always important to make sure that you're keeping up with your email, checking out your student portal to ensure that there hasn't been any requests from us to consider that fee waiver and get it completed. Then once you're done with all of this, essentially, especially after you finish your Apply Texas application, typically within 24 to 48 hours, you will receive an email from us here at UTSA in order to get your My UTSA ID. So that My UTSA ID will be your student ID, and this is how you'll be able to access the ASAP student portal. So this is where you're going to go in, check the status of your application, submit any documentation that can be uploaded through the portal, as well as, once you are admitted, then you'll be able to complete any special placements or orientation through this portal. So definitely make sure that you're getting this information. And if you don't receive it, reach out to your admissions counselor so that they're able to assist you in that. Now we're going to have some deadlines come up here. So these are always big. So January 15th, this is a very special day here at UTSA. It tends to stay the same year to year. So you can typically keep this time frame in mind when you're looking to apply for future terms. But January 15th is big because first, it's the priority deadlines for our admission and financial aid. So admission priority means you get in by January 15th, you're able to essentially have a decision made earlier. And then also for financial aid, when you're able to submit all of your FAFSA and financial aid information, this means that you're putting yourself up there to receive as much aid that you're eligible for as possible. So it really is a first come, first serve basis type of deal there. So that's what the priority deadlines are for. But we also set these on January 15th because the official deadlines for UTSA scholarships, especially for incoming freshmen, will be on this date. So in order to be considered for these scholarships as a first-time freshman, you want to make sure you're meeting that January 15th deadline. Now I'll go into a little information about financial aid. I do want to just give you kind of like the basic foundational information to help you all, but I'll also provide you with contact information where you're able to actually meet and speak with UTSA financial aid representatives to get more of those technical or personal questions answered. So essentially, this will show you our cost of attendance. So this is based off of a typical academic year, which includes the fall and spring semester, and this is slated for the 2020-2021 academic year. And this will be something that we base off of our students who happen to be Texas residents living on campus. So like I said, this is just an estimate. So basically just highball the numbers to get an idea of exactly what a student will spend here during their stay at UTSA. One thing I always like to point out, the most important there for you guys would be that tuition and fees. Tuition and fees is what stays constant when it comes to what you're paying, because tuition and fees is what actually goes towards your classes. So that's what you're paying for your classes and your courses. Everything else, those are expenses. These vary depending on the choices you make. So like I said, you don't have to live on campus when you're coming to UTSA. So you'll be able to toggle that. If you know, hey, I'm going to get my books from here, I'm going to rent my books, that will come into play. Are you going to bring your own personal car, or are you going to use the free via bus system, what have you? So this will all just be variable for you guys, and you're able to kind of adjust that. And we even have a net price calculator where it's really helpful, especially if you've received your financial aid offers, scholarships, and that information, because you're able to go in and provide all that information and make an estimate on exactly how much your stay will be. So depending on your own personal spending habits or what you predict you'll utilize, you're able to use that net price calculator to get something that tailors more to you specifically as an individual. So you can go to that at future.utsa.edu/net price. A new thing that we introduced fall 2019 was our answer to the tuition assistance programs you guys have probably been hearing about from other fellow institutions. So this is UTSA's bold promise. So basically, if you're an eligible student, this is your way to get your tuition and fees covered 100% for 8 semesters within a 4-year time frame. So basically, like I said, what you pay for your classes can be covered in full if you're Bold Promise eligible. So basically, you have to be a Texas resident. Your family's adjusted gross income cannot exceed $50,500 a year, and you have to make sure that you've submitted a FAFSA or a TAFSA to us by January 15th. And then also for this, we're essentially going to be looking at our students who fall into the top 25%. And one big thing I always like to point out is you see that January 15th date again. You see here that you have to actually be admitted to UTSA by January 15th. So this isn't just a priority deadline to get your information in by then to be considered for this. You actually have to have received an admit decision by January 15th for Bold Promise eligibility. And you can only get this as an incoming freshman, so it has to be in the fall. And then, of course, once you are enrolled at UTSA, in order to make sure that that's renewing every year, you just have to make sure that you are enrolled in at least 12 credit hours per semester. So that will basically be a full-time. So 12 credit hours would be minimum to be a full-time student. Then we're going to have our scholarship hub. So our scholarship hub actually lives in its own website on our UTSA website. So this is a great way for you to go in, find all of that UTSA specific scholarship aid. There is a general scholarship application. So you go in, it makes it really easy. You fill it out and it will take and match you to all of the UTSA scholarships that you're eligible for. So it kind of helps cut down that search process. So this is something you want to make sure you're utilizing, and you can actually start getting into the scholarship hub as soon as you get your My UTSA ID log information. So you can go ahead and get that ball rolling. Then, of course, for financial aid, this just kind of sums up exactly what you need to do to have this completed. You want to make sure that you have received your FSA ID, especially if you're the first year family to go to university. This will be a lifelong ID that lives with you, so you'll always have this. And then also you want to make sure that you're filling out your FAFSA. And FAFSA opens every year, October 1st. And it's not just a one-time deal, you know, before your freshman year of college. You will do this every year that you're in higher education. So every year that you are in university, you will always fill out a FAFSA around this time. And it's always better to get it in as early as possible because, like I said, it's first come, first served basis. So you're able to get as much that you're eligible for as possible the earlier you apply. And I always like to point out that if you are going out to get your FSA ID or fill out your FAFSA, always remember that you want to make sure that you're on a website that ends in .edu or .gov. If you're being asked to pay in order to utilize these resources or to fill out your FAFSA or to get your ID, or if it ends in anything other than a .edu or .gov, then that is not a legitimate site. Free is literally in the name of FAFSA. So this is something where you're able to go in and complete it without any charge. So just make sure that you're aware of that as you're going through. And then these will be financial aid deadlines. So once again, January 15th, like I said earlier, is a priority deadline. And then if you happen to be applying for a spring term, November 1st will be your priority deadline. And of course, your October 1 date will be the open of FAFSA every year. Now, financial aid, like I said, we have financial aid representatives here. So if you have more technical questions or personal questions, you're able to visit one of their virtual info sessions, kind of similar to what you're doing today. These are held every day on Wednesday at 10:30, and you're able to go in at future.utsa.edu/virtual in order to register for that session. Then one-stop enrollment is essentially where our financial aid scholarships, our quick answer services are all housed. So you're able to still speak with them even though we're all virtual. You can go through the one-stop live chat. They are answering emails. This really great live chat is really great. I've even used it to help a student before. So definitely make sure you're utilizing that. And also stay up to date on their Twitter and their Facebook. They're actually pretty active. So they'll definitely post any new updates if needed. So definitely don't be afraid to follow them at UTSA One Stop. Now I'm going to give you some of your information on your counselors. So these are going to be the people who are assisting you and your counselors in your area when it comes to applying to UTSA. So you can visit all of the information at future.utsa.edu/contact. And this is where you're able to go in and see all of our different counselors throughout the Texas region. So we serve different areas of Texas and some out of state. So basically you're able to go in, find the person who is in your area, and then you're able to email and communicate with them directly to assist you. So these are people that you've probably seen at college fairs or, you know, during school visits. So we're here to help you guys. So definitely don't feel afraid to reach out and ask any question at all. Then of course, throughout this time, we're still having virtual visits. So on a normal operating schedule, we always host our UTSA days in October, February, and April. So we're still holding those. So currently, of course, on a virtual platform. We had our previous one here on April 18th. But then also you're able to visit us for daily virtual visits Monday through Friday at those listed times. And that's a great time for you to actually speak with some of our UTSA student ambassadors. So students who are here at UTSA, you're able to get more information and just see, the campus from a virtual platform there. And then also, like I said, you guys are kind of already on this step here. You're joining us on a virtual info session, but it's not just admissions information you can hear about. There's financial aid, there's information for admitted students and their next steps. So definitely make sure that you're checking all of that out once again at future.utsa.edu/virtual. And then of course, if you just, just kind of like moseying the internet on your own and you want to go at your own pace and getting a virtual tour, you can actually go to utsa.edu/uvisit. And this is a great way for you guys just to see great images of the university. So Maria there will lead you through a virtual tour, and she'll give you different facts and information on the areas of campus that you are looking at. And to stay informed, future.utsa.edu, this is an important site. So everything that is here, it'll expand upon there. You can find more information, but then also follow us on different social media. So at UTSA Future RR, we always try to keep everything as up to date as possible, interact with you guys. You can even ask us questions there if you need to. We can direct you to whatever resource that you're needing, but definitely make sure that you're looking at all of that, especially with so many changes going on in recent times. This would be a great way to just make sure that you're informed. All right, and now we have reached the end of the presentation, and I will turn it over to our chat moderator to get our Q&A session going.
Hey, Alasia, great presentation. Thank you so much. So with COVID-19 going on, I'm just going to jump right into it if you don't mind. With COVID-19 going on, lots of students are curious, will we have classes on campus in the fall semester? Like what's the timeline with that?
So at the moment, what we're hoping on is that we will be seeing you guys on campus in the fall. So as of right now, we have it slated that we will have on campus in-person classes. Now, of course, if that were to change, further development, then we're going to let you guys know. But right now, you can at least expect that you will be able to be in class on campus in the fall 2020.
Gotcha. Okay. Another clarification that some students might need. So since we don't require SAT or ACT scores anymore, if you haven't taken it already, what's your options?
Yes, so once again, for summer 2020, fall 2020, and spring 2021, we've suspended that test score requirement. If you haven't taken the test or you're going to retest and it was canceled, then you're going to be fine. The important thing now is going to be essentially without those test scores, all that we're going to have will be your applied Texas application and your high school transcript. Since that will be the remaining mandatory items, what we're really pushing for you guys to treat as a mandatory item now will be all of that supplemental documentation. So this will be that resume. If, like I said, if there are any other achievements or experiences you've had that weren't included on your Applied Texas application, send that in to us. It's going to be the essay from Applied Texas. So it's the SAA topic. So it's the personal experience that shaped you in high school. Get that sent in to us, as well as at least 2 letters of recommendation. So whether it's from a counselor, a teacher, or someone who's been a part of, instrumental in your growth and programs or organizations that you've joined, make sure you're getting all of that into us. So this is going to be really important because now we're going to be going through and reading through all of that. So we need that supporting documentation in, like I said, in addition to the transcript and the application we have, having that will help us in gaining a better understanding of you as a student. And all of that information, it can be sent to apply@utsa.edu. So you can email those to that, and I'll essentially be able to go to our individuals in processing, and we can get it added onto your file. So just make sure, I always like to say too, if you're sending in information to the apply@utsa.edu email address, make sure that you're including your name as it appears on your Applied Texas application so there aren't any mix-ups with that.
Thank you so much. Another question kids might have is, so let's say that they applied and they weren't necessarily admitted. And now with the non-test score requirement, the kids who might have applied and not been admitted, they might be saying, okay, well, is there any way I can be reevaluated? So Ms. Alasia, what would I do in that situation?
Yes, so with that, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to reassess everyone who has previously received a an alternate admission decision. So if you received a denied decision prior to all these changes, we're going to go through and we're going to reassess those applications. So basically, this will be a point where as soon as you can, go ahead and get those supplemental documentations in if you haven't already. So that essay, the resume, the letters of recommendation, go ahead and get those over to us so that we can have those in case once we reach the reassessment portion of our process right now. And in case you don't know, hey, like, oh, I'm not sure if I've submitted that, or I don't have my UTSA ID anymore, I can't get into my ASAP, reach out to your counselor so that we can assist you with that. So I'm just pushing all of my students I know and all applicants to just go ahead and get that information in as soon as you can at this moment, since we will be going through a reassessment of those previous decisions.
Thank you, Ms. Alasia. So that's going to conclude our virtual freshman admissions information session. We're going to keep the chat open for about 5 or 6 minutes. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop your question in the chat. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.